Hey guys, it's Ariana Viviesca. If you're new here, welcome. I talk all about stocks, real estate, and just entrepreneurship in general. In this video, I'm just going to be here to provide all you aspiring realtors a little resource of what to expect when taking those real estate courses. Every single realtor in the United States has to take pre-licensing courses. The hours depend on the state that you live in. In this case, in California, there are 3 required courses. There's real estate principles, real estate practice, and for the 3rd one, there's a long list that you can choose from. So with the website that I'm using, which is Real Estate Express, the only one available to me was real estate law, but if I really had to choose, I probably would have gone with like real estate escrow or like real estate finance. I think that would be cool. Or like even real estate economics. But I do feel like real estate law is probably a little more useful for the actual exam. So a little about me. I'm 17 years old. I'm a senior in high school. So you can take the real estate courses at any age. You don't have to be 18 for that, but you do have to be 18 to actually go ahead and schedule your test. So for me, I'll be 18 in February. That is when I'll be scheduling my test. I decided to start my pre-licensing courses about a month ago. I started in like October 11th, like that week of October. And then once I'm done with my courses, I will receive a certificate from Real Estate Express, which I can use as proof that I've completed my pre-licensing courses, which will then allow me to go ahead and schedule my exam and get all those like thumbprints and everything else necessary. And then obviously once I pass, I can finally say that I am a licensed realtor of the beautiful state of California. But if you guys want a more in-depth explanation of the entire becoming a realtor process, I'll have it linked up here. Alright, so like I said before, I use Real Estate Express. Real Estate Express is like your average generic course. It's all text, which I kind of hate, but I mean, it's whatever. It's the best available at that price point that I was looking at. When I bought these 3 courses, I got them for 30% off, and you guys can get 35% off using the link below in my description. So let's go over what's actually in this course. Each course is divided into chapters. For real estate principles, there are 31 chapters. For the rest, I'm not sure of how many chapters there are. So the last 3 chapters consist of 2 practice exams, and then the very last chapter, like the last one, consists of the final exam for real estate principles. On top of that, each chapter has various pages that goes more into detail of what the chapter is about. The amount of pages just vary per chapter. The least amount of pages I saw while taking this course was about 4 to 6 pages. The most I saw was like the last chapter, which is chapter 28. It has 146 pages, but it makes sense because it's all about math. Like they teach you a bunch of formulas in that chapter. And at the end of each chapter, there's a 10-question quiz. You must get 80% of the quiz in order to continue on to the next chapter. Yeah. In addition, before ending that chapter, there's also a conclusion page, which basically is just a long PDF that you can download full of everything that you talked about in that chapter. So you don't have to like go through everything again. You can just go through that summary. The way that I structure these study sessions is just by taking notes of every single chapter. This is my notebook right here. It's my real estate notebook, and as you guys can see, I've already done quite a bit of notes. For example, chapter 14, which talks about institutional lenders plus government participation. In that specific chapter, it had a table chart of specific details of like FHA loans and VA loans, and then I just copied it down. And then down here there's like a bunch of other FHA programs. So this is pretty nice. I really enjoyed this chapter. I also want to invest in real estate, so it was nice to just see the options that I had. There's always a way to invest, even if you have like little to no money. But yeah, you guys get the idea. It's just like bullet points. It's some quick notes. Another thing about my notes is I use different colors so it doesn't get like too overwhelming of that same color. Handwrite all my notes because that's the only reason that I'm really gonna grasp on the material. This pushes me to like actually read through the chapter carefully, and then it pushes me to paraphrase everything I learned. And then from there, since I'm putting the material in my own words, I'm basically teaching someone else what I've already learned, which is basically basically my way of proving to myself that I learned it because I'm capable of teaching someone else what I just learned, and that someone is my notebook. That's a very important study tip. You haven't learned what you learned if you can't paraphrase those complex words and put them into more understanding words that you can quickly remember. I also keep a digital folder in my computer, and it's just full of those like conclusion pages. It also has like a bunch of screenshots. Once I thoroughly review my notes, I go ahead and take that quiz, that 10-question quiz. I really like the Real Estate Express quizzes because they're literally what you're going to see on the exam. What people have told me from that real estate exam is that it's very conceptual. They're not going to straight up ask you like, what is the definition of a covered loan? It's going to be a multiple choice test. One of my teachers, one of my high school teachers, my history teacher, he tells me if it's a multiple choice test, the answer is literally on the test. Ever since I heard that, I was like, whoa, that's so true. Like, the answer is right there, bro. Chill. Don't be so stressed out. It's right there. I would say each question is kind of like separated into a sequence. The first part of the question is just background info. It's literally just introducing the story. Second part of the question is probably going into more detail on that background info, you know, leading up to that specific question maybe. That third part, that's where it asks that straightforward question in application to the problem that we're trying to solve. Let me give you an example of what I mean. Here you can see I highlighted the first part, which is just background info, and then we have more details about the background info that kind of lead into what we're trying to solve, and then finally there's our question. That's what we're trying to actually solve. Just really understanding that a conceptual question is basically just the definition with real world application is going to help you a lot on the test. I mean, I haven't taken the test yet, but you know, I've taken tests in the past, and this test really reminds me of the driver's permit test or like AP exams. I don't know if you guys have ever taken an AP exam, but those things are so annoying. They're so confusing because they're not straight up about it. Like, it's a question, but the actual question is hidden in the question. Really have to take your time with it. I'm about to finish my first course, Real Estate Principles. Some chapters are so damn long. Like, the second to last chapter was 80 pages long. And what I did to solve this problem is I went to Starbucks. I highly recommend you guys to go somewhere to study if you're ever overwhelmed with a certain chapter, giving you a change of environment. Please, please, please don't always sit on your freaking desk because it gets so stressful and annoying after a while, especially if you have that long chapter. That's why you can't focus when you're studying, because you're burnt out from sitting in the same freaking chair, writing on the same freaking desk, staring at the same freaking wall. And then when I went to Starbucks, it took me less than 2 hours to finish that long chapter that probably would have taken me 2 nights, and each night 2 to 3 hours to complete, because I either get distracted or just bored and decide no more. Another study tip I recommend is take breaks in between. There's a study technique where you study for 25 minutes and then you take like a 5 to 10 minute break, and then you just like keep continuing that same process until you're finished. Put your mental health first, because you won't put out the best work possible if you're not feeling your best up here. So give your body, give your mind whatever they need to be a great student, studious student. Now let's talk about that final exam after each chapter. What I'm gonna do to study is just watch a bunch of YouTube videos on my specific course. Like, for example, watch summary videos of Real Estate Principles. There's so many videos on YouTube of instructors teaching their class or like showing PowerPoint or whatever, just lectures on this specific chapter. I'm gonna go ahead and just list some right now. Another really useful resource that I recommend anybody to use, even if you're just like a student, if you're not interested in real estate or whatever, like, it doesn't matter. This is something you need. Quizlet. Like, if you haven't heard of Quizlet, what the heck are you doing? You're probably failing every single class. No, I'm playing, but Quizlet is so amazing. So the thing about Quizlet is that you can get access to public flashcards, and some people have done some in the past for these specific things, you know, like Real Estate Vocab, Real Estate Express, and I'm gonna also create my own, because part of that real estate exam is vocab. Like, that's the biggest chunk. And then obviously I'm gonna just review my notes and take those practice exams and review my conclusion pages before I actually take that final exam. Once I'm done with all my courses, I will use maybe like 1 month or a couple weeks just to straight up study everything available on the internet for that test. There's so many apps on the App Store full of like practice exams for that real estate exam. I think there's also like YouTube videos that are practice exams. I know I keep comparing it to the driver's permit. I know the driving permit test isn't a big deal, like as big of a deal as real estate, but like it's the same process, you know. You take your courses and then you go take that test. But anyways, the way I passed my test was just taking a bunch of practice exams until like deadass didn't get one single question wrong, and I would watch YouTube videos as well on practice exam. Overall though, Quizlet's gonna be my best friend. I'm just focused on passing that exam right now, and oh my goodness, I'm so excited to take you guys along my journey. 2022 is gonna be a year full of blessings, full of first times and beginnings. This year is where my career is gonna, you know, it's gonna get serious. I'm gonna be 18, I'm gonna be legal. I'm gonna be getting opportunities I wasn't able to get when I was underage. And man, I cannot be more thankful for your guys' support. I mean, like, not necessarily like fangirling over me, like that's not what I mean by support, but I just mean you guys telling me like how you've been able to use the content I put out to help you in the real world, you know. There's so many of you out there just grinding, and I see that. Trust me, I know you're watching me right now and you're on your grind. I love you. Keep it going, okay? So I really hope this video helped. I really hope you feel a little more confident about starting those courses. As always, you can comment down any questions you have. I'll answer every single one of them. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. Have a blessed day. Bye.